Then I'll amend it to refer to budget.
Mr. Chairman, I stated I do support the motion. Our communities need the extra money for the celebrations. It's just that it should follow the proper channels. We can't just be spending money on the floor without going through budget. We gotta find the funds, identify them, and put them to the cause. So that I will support it, Mr. In the Woods, if we could please refer it.
Change your motion?
Mr. Treasurer, that line item, is that 21 communities, 3,000? And if you boost it up 3,000, it's not gonna be that much, you know. We're not talking over 200,000.
Well, you'll have to take it out of somewhere.
Huh?
You'll have to take the additional 60-some thousand out of some other line item. And that's what needs to be found out, so.
So it's not over 100,000, so.
No, but it's gotta come from someplace. There's not 60,000 just sitting
Cough it
there.
up. Cough it up. All right, I'll amend it. I guess I can. I got a second here, but if it's gonna die, if you guys want to vote on it?
Okay, motion's been amended to refer to the budget committee.
Second
Mr.
still
Indowitz?
there.
Chelsea had the floor.
Second by Mr. Kessler. Ms. Haskell, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also do support the motion. I would just be worded, refer to budget, and I will support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just like to state that, I think it's long overdue. It's time to do another one of them, give back to the communities and give them each 50,000 out of Tetra again. We did that I don't know how many years ago, but I think it's time that them communities deserve that money again. It did a lot of good for them communities. I know some of them ain't spent it all, but there is some that did benefit, and I don't know how that happened the last time or what the process was, but I'd like to see that come to reality here sooner than later. Thank you.
Okay, got a motion and a second to refer to budget. All in favor, raise your hand. Ten yes, one not voting, motion carries. Mr. Indowitz?
Yeah, I could put up a budget for you guys to get it done, but, there's no reason. Motion 3, motion made that if there are positions being filled by in-house transfers or promotions, that the job that is left will be advertised for the public. Motion by Bernita Indowitz, second by Ron Widow. Some of the discussion on motion, we have a huge unemployment rate on the reservation. So when you in-house transfer or promote within departments, the open position should be advertised so that the others have a chance. When said positions are not being advertised, we are not helping our people. And the vote was 18 yes, 0 no, 2 abstain, 1 not voting. Motion carried. That'd be my motion, Chairman. Can we get an answer on that?
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Indowitz, second by Mr. Rousseau. And this motion, maybe you should refer to committee and we kind of just opened the door recently. So it's kind of like we just did this last session. And so it doesn't really do anything to, it says if there are any positions, so. But, Mr. Rousseau, you wanted the floor?
Yeah, good morning, everyone, colleagues, everyone out there. Good morning. This is a response to our action at Law and Order Committee, huh? They're already trying to put a block to it. So I think that we need to go a second in motion for discussion, just so I can point that out. we need to do something about the hiring board, because that's our biggest problem, is that we're not getting anyone hired at all. To the 3 references and all this other stuff that they're requiring our members to do, and they're not getting anyone hired. That's the real discussion here. So, but I can't support this motion because we put a lot of effort into this at the Law and Order Committee meeting to help make some progress over there, and I think that this here we need to block it, and so I'm going to pull my second. But I'd like to see that, maybe the next motion should be to just get rid of that hiring committee and just let the administration and the directors do their own hiring right there on the spot. Thank you.
Okay, second's been pulled. Is there a second for this motion?
Chairman,
I think it happens anyway. If you transfer, then that position would be advertised.
can we get that clarified? Because I'm not sure on that. So if we had in-house transfer in any of our programs, general fund, we have say, but then the contract and grants, we got to go by whatever. But I think what does actually happen to individuals when they transfer and then that position's open? Can you answer that question? Does it get advertised, or is it another in-house transfer? What kind of transfers were there?
I don't think there was any transfers yet since we took that action.
It used to happen a long time ago. They used to have in-house transfers.
Yeah, way back probably.
What happened? I was here in 2000. So.
Yeah, you're probably one of the first of us that were in council.
So
I have to ask Greg Borland.
Can we get he's a real chairman, that guy. He brought money here. He brought 2 trust funds, which I haven't seen any other chairman do. That guy brought money in here. That tells me a lot about chairmen. He brought money in too. But I don't know. So if I don't have a second, then I'll try to have to find that out for the district. Tell them what goes on.
Yeah,
Who
I'm
would
sure
know
that like all jobs have to be advertised. So if somebody transfers out of a job or is promoted, then that job would be advertised. Yeah. That's the process we have.
That's what I figured. Saying are not, when said positions are not being advertised. See, that's what needs to be answered. And the last statement is we're not helping our people, this IRA government. Motion 4, motion made in reference to the tribal council action on April 20th, 2023. Any jobs that were already being advertised prior to this action still have to be hired by the hiring board. Motion by Trish Rand, second by Bernita Underwoods. Discussion on motion. It's only fair to those individuals that have already put in their paperwork for the open jobs or in the process to be considered through the hiring process. This way, these jobs are not being filled by transfers or promotions, but by applicants that are seeking employment. Is that clear?
Maybe just refer that one as well. I think
refer to administration. I should refer both of them to you, to
Good.
Administration, to get an answer that we can take back to the district. We motion to refer to administration.
Got a motion by Mr. Underwoods. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Walters to refer to the administration. All in favor, raise your hand. 9 yes, 2 not voting, motion carries. Mr. Underwoods, go ahead.
Yeah, can you reconsider that top motion and motion to refer to administration to find out? I know you got a new AO, so.
Okay, you got a motion by number 3 to refer to administration by Mr. Underwoods. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Walters. All in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 yes. 2 not voting, motion carries. Mr. Underwoods.
The fifth motion made to support any District 1 member who did not receive the 3,000 COVID pay bonus or Lakota Thrifty Mart hazard pay, who worked 90 days or more with submitted documentation, which would be a letter of request for payment with hours worked to the CRST treasurer within 14 days. Motion made by John Widow, second by Samantha Lonigo. The motion on discussion that there is many District 1 members who work for LTM during the pandemic, and when the hazard pay was being paid out, they did not receive anything, or if they did receive payment, it was not the full amount. When they inquired about it to the Credco business office, they were told they would look into it. They still have not received a payment or explanation. Also, there are several workers who work for the checkpoints who were omitted from receiving the $3,000 payment. They also talked to the treasurer's office and were told they would look into it. To this day, nothing. These are people that worked on the front lines, keeping our people safe and putting themselves at risk. Why are they not being paid? Who was in charge of hours, documents, and the list of who received payment and who doesn't? District 1 would like answers for them and for them to be compensated for their brave actions working during the pandemic. Should that motion pass for 14 yes and 2 no, 3 abstain? Chairman, would this be a referral to who? Treasurer? Since it's a motion to the treasurer. We need council action to approve of this. There was one that worked checkpoint, and there's about 3 of them that worked at LTM that were at the meeting, and they didn't get paid. So then we broadened it up because they just named those 3. But then we said, well, what if there's others out there? So they kind of made that motion to any District 1 member who did not receive, because there were 3 there, I believe, or maybe 4 that were in that situation. So don't go to see you, Treasurer, but you need council action, right? And we're waiting for that legal on that.
Go ahead, Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What the treasurer's office did is we followed your guys' council action that stated they got $3,000 if they worked 6 months. So we followed your action and went through everybody that was on that list, as well as probably a few hundred other ones that weren't on the list that submitted their name. And everybody was told that they either were going to get it and got a check, or they were told they didn't have enough hours. Nobody was not told anything. And the last action that was done, that started back in December, there's been about $1.2 or $3 million that was used for this $3,000. So if you guys open this up and lower it to 90 days, you better be ready to have some more money to pay for that. And with the budget minutes that'll be coming in from April, after the action was taken for a couple small items to clear them up, and a motion out of committee to pay $1 million for the new powwow grounds, you have about $500,000 left in ARPA. So you'll probably have to find another funding source if you're going to pay everybody that worked 90 days, $3,000.
Right now, it's these, I don't know on who all applied, but right now it's on these ones that came to the meeting and that they should be getting their pay. Even if they work 90 days, they need to get paid, that pay, hazard pay, and that they submit their documentation, which is their timesheets. So their timesheets will tell how many hours they worked. And if they didn't get paid, then they need to get paid. The ones that didn't get paid and worked need to get paid. Again, this came to our attention, so I told them to go to the district meeting and make a motion, because I didn't know that those individuals were not paid, or I don't know exactly. That's why I told them to get their stuff together and take it to the treasurer, say he knows, and I told him it's most likely that timesheet's gonna tell. You guys got that timesheet.
Could I respond? Mr. In the Woods, what they did is, we issue a payroll report, and it's based on their timesheets. The payroll report goes by every 2 weeks, and that payroll report will tell you if they worked them months or not. So based on the people that applied, we pulled every payroll report of every ARPA employee, and some made it and some didn't. Some worked 5 months, some worked 3 months, some worked 60 days. But your council action said 6 months, so that was the action that was followed to pay them out. So if you're gonna lower it, you probably need to change your council action and make sure you have enough funds to pay for whatever your action is.
Chairman, thank you, Treasurer. I know employees have rights, and I think our action may be not right for 6 months. I think we can amend that to 90 days and look at these individuals that didn't get paid. Does that have to take action now, Chairman? Motion to lower to 90 days specifically for these individuals?
Probably should take that to the committee and get the funds, and that way we can make those payments if this is all approved.
If there was 100 that are in that situation, it's 300,000. But I don't know if it'd be that. But these individuals actually need to get paid. That didn't get that extra pay. A motion to refer. Who's going to take that out of budget?
Budget would work, yeah.
Okay. That'd be my motion then.
We got a motion to refer by Mr. Underwoods. Is there a second?
How many are in your district that are facing that? District 5 and 3 and 4 and
Okay.
6?
Second by Mr. Walters. Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, good morning, Tribal Council and Chairman, Administration, and our one general public sitting back there, and all those on the live stream. But I took several names into the Mr. Treasurer's office. There's going to be way more than 100 people. And we just heard that there's going to be like $500,000 left of the COVID money, right? Is that what that was? All the ARPA money?
It's 500,000 that isn't allocated to anything.
You know, there was people that worked up to, they were shy 1 week. But the action of the tribal council was 6 months, so they didn't get a check. And I heard from a lot of them people, and I took a lot of names into Mr. Treasurer, and he got the reports. They ran the reports for him, and they just didn't qualify. I'll pull my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, motion's been pulled. Second by, no second. Okay, council, there's no second to the motion, so it's out of order.
I'm still going to defend them if they bring their stuff in. Motion 7, motion made all, oh wait, I didn't read that. Number 6, motion made all elected officials be required to do local, state, federal background checks. Motion by Bernita Inu, second by John Widow. Discussion on motion, the Secretary's office advised that they only do a state background check on elected officials. So if a candidate commits a crime in another state, we wouldn't know, as we do not run a federal check. If the tribal employees have to do all three, then so should all the elected officials. At this time, the chair did not accept the motion with the second. So motion maker advised there was a motion on the floor again and to call for the vote. And chair again did not accept, to which motion maker left meeting stating that this is the people's meeting. If the chair was not going to recognize the people's motion, it would be taken to council. this is when there's something that came into the meeting. And it hit me, so I wanted to leave. I had that feeling. I get that in here too during land committee. Someone comes in, and I seen anger. I seen people's faces change. They got angry. And it doesn't say anything in here that I agreed that I'll accept that motion. But I was going by the agenda, and the secretary was undermining me. So I told her, stand on. I'm going by the agenda. So it's kind of like they made it into a political thing, and they kind of, I finally agreed. I said, I'll take it, but wait, I don't know about this. Let's get it legal. That's not in here. My response back's not in here. So it looks like I'm being under attack here, And all it says, chair did not accept the motion, and then the second one says that, but I did. So these minutes aren't accurate, Chairman and Council. And listening audience, these aren't. Nowhere does it say that I'd accept that. I told him I would. And the ones that I said, let me read this resolution. It's on the agenda. They didn't honor a chairman asking to complete the agenda. I wanted to get out of there too, but they wouldn't let me do that. The other ones, when Bernita left, the other ones, you could see their face, man. I'm going to call them out nowadays. I'm going to start calling people out like that. There should be no anger in there. Should have respect. But, this is how the system is. Our people are really frustrated, man, out in the communities where nothing's happening. It's getting to be a big, major concern, Chairman, but these aren't really accurate minutes. These aren't, they never gave it to me to sign.
Is that it for the minutes then, or last quorum after that?
Well, this last motion made all elected officials be required to do that. When they brought it back again, I said I'll accept that motion. But at this time, the chair did not accept the motion. That's a lie. That needs to be corrected. So I said I would accept that motion because Ron brought it up, and I think Linda. So I'll accept your motion. But let me read this resolution into the record. It's not in here, Chairman.
You want to take that back to the district then?
Yeah, and
We'll
can
bring
we
it
get
up
that
there.
answered? I don't know what you're talking about, Madam Secretary. Bernita brought this up, and I said it should get a legal review first, is what I told her. Get a legal review, and then we can see which. Get this answer. See what the answer is. She got mad and walked out, and that started this whole thing with this anger and stuff. I don't accept that. As chairing that meeting, I didn't accept that. Them being angry, and then they broke quorum.
Okay, well, let's,
So then the next regular meeting, we're meeting the last Wednesday, the one April 26th, minutes by Juanita Ores. I'll have to correct that.
okay, we'll have to take that back to your district. We'll go on to District 2. You got minutes, Mr. Knife, go ahead.
Chairman, we tried to have a meeting on April 23rd, but we didn't get a quorum. But we kind of visited there for a little bit with some individuals. I wanted to make a motion to refer to Medicine Wheel, that we bring Sylvia Blue Arm Ironhawk back to the Medicine Wheel Village because she hardly talks English, and some of the family members are afraid that she's getting abused, or not. They're not really understanding her at wherever she's at. So I'd like to make a motion to refer to Medicine Wheel to bring her home.
Second.
Or all the other ones that are out there too. Thank you.
We Jacob.
Okay, Mr. Knife, motion to refer to Medicine Village?
Yeah. To bring Sylvia Blue Arm Ironhawk back.
Okay, to bring Sylvia.
And maybe all the other ones that are in different nursing homes out there.
Okay, motion by Mr. Knife, second by Mr. What? Mr. Brings Plenty? I thought she said John, and I was like, that's not John. Okay, we got a referral, council. All in favor, raise your hand. 10 yes, 1 not voting, motion carries.
Chairman,
Mr.
I'd like
Knife?
to request a tribal flag for our community. And that's all I got, Chairman.
Go ahead, Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Can we get a copy of those minutes? We never got nothing submitted to our
Emailed them
office.
to, Jacob. Well, you weren't there. I emailed them to Jacob.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, go on to District 3. I don't have any minutes in front of me. If you had something, Mr. Kessler, Mr. Dupree's. Otherwise, we'll go on to District 4. District 4 had a meeting Wednesday, April 19th, 2023, 6 p.m. at the conference room at the Cheyenne River Housing Authority in Eagle Butte. Looks like they had 12 people sign in.
I'll do the minutes, Chairman LeBeau.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
We had a meeting on April 19th, 2023, and we waited from 6 o'clock to 7:33 to get a quorum, but people wanted to wait, so we waited, Kelsey, Thad, and I. And there was a motion to remove the income guidelines for ARPA home repair program. 11 yes, 0 no, 0 abstained, the motion passed. We just explained the ARPA program was waiting on the application and different things like that. We did most of our discussions before we had a quorum, so that was actually the only motion. So that was the motion to remove the income guidelines for the ARPA home repair program, not the housing, but the home repair program. And that'll be my motion.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Ms. Lee, second by Ms. Haskell to remove income guidelines for the ARPA home repair program. Discussion, Mr. Russo?
Thank you, Chairman. I thought that whenever we give out that ARPA money, they're supposed to show a need for it. And I know we see a lot of people that are retired that have range units, tribal directors. They're all getting their homes fixed at the front of the line all of a sudden. And I stood against it, and it's turning into a home renovation for those members that have high income. And I shared that thing on Facebook about how IHS Eagle Butte is discriminating against our poor members, and I stand behind that. But we're doing it to ourselves. We're front loading people that don't need it as badly as the pitiful ones that do need it, and I can't support this motion. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments, council members? Mr. Edwards?
Clarification on the motion?
Mr. Underwoods was motion by Leslie LeCompte, second by George Eagle Chasing, to remove the income guidelines for the ARPA home repair program, just the home repair program.
You got a second?
Yes, I made the motion, and Kelsey Haskell seconded the motion.
I support it.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Secretary, or we got Mr. Kessler, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. Is this a motion for District 4 only, or is this across the board? What are we doing?
It was across the board, was my understanding.
Okay, any other comments? Mr. Brinksmoney?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, council executives, general public. And I think the idea in regards to the guideline was to prioritize the needs There's some individuals out there that don't have funding to repair some of the homes that they're living in. And that was the idea, to be able to prioritize those individuals. With the program, I mean, if we allow it to continue working the way it has been in the past, those individuals are going to be left out. And some of these people, they have the greatest need because, I mean, for one thing, they don't have much of an income, but they also have a number of individuals or dependents that they're providing for, but they're also living in these dilapidated homes. So I think that was the idea when they first presented that, as far as the income. Some individuals that we've seen on the list, I'm not going to say any names, but they do pretty well as far as income for themselves. I mean, if I can provide for myself or fix my home, I'll do it. That way it's less of a strain on the tribe. So, the tribe can help those that are less fortunate. I mean, I think that was the whole idea of it. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Kessler?
Thank you, Chairman. I agree with what Mr. Brings Plenty said, but I guess there wouldn't be no reason that everybody couldn't put an application in. I'm sure when they go through the parameters, they would be disqualified for over income to begin with. So if I guess I could support the motion for that reason. I do think that the board will determine the income eligibility, and that would eliminate that person at that time. So thank you.
Mr. Russo?
Thank you, Chairman. We discussed this at Tribal Projects at pretty long length, and we don't have enough money to go forever. They only got about 1.4 million left, and we're going to run out of money eventually. And so far, they're doing home renovations, so we had to stop them and tell them it's home repair. And because there's members that are out there that aren't getting help. We had an elder in District 6 that was she still ain't been helped, and she's getting passed up by these representatives. This elder in District 6, she lives in a FEMA trailer. She's low income, and she's getting passed up by tribal directors, by range unit operators, and by high income people. So I can't support this motion. Not only that, if this is such a successful project, these members that can afford it, maybe they're just having a hard time not being able to find contractors. If that's the case, then they should get be able to bill their insurance companies and start generating third party revenue off these high income members that can afford insurance and afford the repairs. That way we can continue to serve these low income families that don't have the means to do this. Otherwise, we're just creating a big welfare society here on the reservation, and we got a bunch of people that work for these programs. They get retirement pensions, and then they don't even volunteer. We should start thinking about these people that have all this extra money. They're sitting back wondering what the tribe can do for them. But we got a whole bunch of children that don't even have a K-8 sports in our tribal schools. So all the people with means are sending their kids to Timberlake and the Dupree so they can actually have an opportunity to get, to succeed and thrive on this reservation. We got a whole bunch of people moving back to not even giving back, So we need to stop that idea that the tribe owes us, and we need to start, thinking that if we can help, we should be trying to help give back instead of just take. We need to do a little bit better. But that's that range unit society, that you sit on council, you have a range unit, and then you keep that lease rate really low, and then you don't even do nothing to give back to the people, So that's why I don't support range unit operators being on council either. Thank you.
Mr. Thompson, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. I agree with both sides. I do think something needs to be done because you do have individuals out there single moms, singles dads that are working, trying to make ends meet, taking care of kids by themselves. They should be able to apply for this program. You know, and we got a lot of that. We always depend on them people to come to work, put their time in, but we always, when it comes time to want to help them, they got a job, they're high paying. And Mr. Russo's right, you know, there is some that, but that comes down to common sense, whoever's running this program. They should be able to look at an application and say, hey, here's an individual that, yeah, she's working, good for her, he or she, they got kids. She should get help. He or she should get help. You know, it should be a common sense way to approach this deal. And if you're a director and you got a range in it, you shouldn't get help. But if you're a mom or a dad and you're working and you're taking care of kids, and you should get help, because there's people out there that do work that need help. So some way, somehow, I support the motion. I don't know where these applications go or who looks at them, but you should look at it and understand that, be able to pick the ones that we all know everybody that deserves it. And there is some individuals that might have good jobs on the reservation, and good for them, but they should get help too. They're a member of this tribe also. So thank you.
Ms. Haskell, go ahead. Mr. Underwoods?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So in Human Services, we had already talked about this prior to coming to District 4, or vice versa. Anywho, last week in Human Services, we had talked about removing the guidelines and prioritizing handicap, elders, and Human Services approved repairs. So they're not getting so bombarded. But right now, when we implemented this application, we then put the housing repair program at a standstill. So now he's sitting there not being able to do any repairs at all, and hasn't been because we put a application process into the game here. And I'm not a fan of micromanaging. I think that he was hired to do his job. I don't interfere with that. And he gives a report every month on the stuff that he's improved, the stuff that he has done. And we talked about exterior only, you know, trying to get more people, spread the money out. If we focused on exterior so that they had a sound place to live, then, you know, maybe we could find another pot of money to work on the interior. But right now, siding, windows, ramps, whatever, that stuff's important. So basically, remove the guidelines so we can get by this application process. Because right now we're not doing nothing. This is prime time season to get this stuff done, and we just put a barrier up against it. So, and like Tuffy said, there are people that, I'm for the working class too. You know, there's people out there. I was that girl who couldn't get any assistance because I had a job, but you don't have any money when come Friday or come the following Monday. We have single parents out there. We have people that are raising their nieces, their nephews. We have grandchildren living in homes. And just because they might get a little rink-a-dink paycheck, people think that can go far, and it doesn't, especially with our grandmas. So I don't agree with the income guidelines.
Mr. In the Woods.
Yeah, like in District 1, that was a concern. So when the chairman asked for
Mr.
comments.
In the Woods. Hold on, Mr. In the Woods. There's no quorum right now. Okay, now we got a quorum.
Chairman, you was asking for comments on that application, so I gave you my comment about, what about these ones that are living like 3 or 4 families in one house, one HUD house, or some that don't have no income? So he said that it'll be up to the board. So if the policy don't reflect that, Chairman, whenever we get that veterans report or the legal report, then I support this if it says that, what you just said, Kelsey, that target the low income and multiple families and that they're eligible. Would you accept that or what? Should we specify? Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Like
Can I
what
respond to
Kelsey?
that? So if we just amended the motion to remove the guidelines and prioritize elders, handicap, and human services requests, because what we're seeing at our human services meeting is people coming in with their requests that we do want to help, but right now the ARPA repair project is just getting bombarded, overwhelmed with all these requests, and we're running out of places to refer as far as, do we refer to property when that's not what property's for? Do we refer to home ARPA when that wasn't, a hot water heater or a furnace or whatever, that wasn't the intent of that ARPA repair. So, or to my knowledge or my understanding. So we're running into, where do we keep referring these people if they're just getting stacked up? And right now, ARPA repair's at a standstill. They're not doing anything because this application process was put into play. So we're wasting all this time when those crews could be out fixing stuff. And I don't know, I just think we need to find a way to get them out there and get them back to working and getting these houses repaired.
Chairman, I'll amend my motion then to motion to remove the income guidelines for the ARPA home repair program and to also prioritize elderly, handicap, and human services committee referrals.
Second stands.
Chairman,
I don't know if we can amend the motion since it's coming from the district.
Chairman, I brought up,
I got Mr. Brinks money.
yeah, but I had the floor when I asked Kelsey a question to amend it. And I brought up that we got people that are living in multiple homes and they're frustrated that way, and there's children involved too. So remember I asked about that and you said the board would decide that. So does the district's board have that authority? One is to choose who they think needs it. Or is it going to go by this income guideline, which is, to them, is shutting the door on them? And you said it'll be up to the board, so is that a confirmation? We got our board in place now, but this motion was to be specified. Elder, handicap, and those ones that are requesting human service help.
I think the board you're talking about is for the
housing board.
The ARPA housing?
Yeah.
What we're talking about here is the guidelines for the ARPA home repair. So that program that Galen Means is the director of, this is what it's in reference to.
Okay. Thanks. I wasn't clear on that. You clarified that now. So if we take away from that, then what does it do then? Like what my colleague's saying here, is that going to open the door for everybody or just specify those people, but it's not specifying them, so it's wide open. So I might have to agree with my colleague here. If we don't make that amendment specifying elders, homeless, and human service referrals or whatever we're going to call it, it needs to be clear.
Okay. I'm going to go on to Mr. Bringsmoney and Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with the way the amendment would read. I think specifying it would target those individuals that are most in need. And most of those individuals do approach human services, and their need is great. So if that's amended, I'll support that motion, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Brings-Plenty, I amended the motion to include that, but Chairman LeBeau brought up the fact that we can't amend district motions on the floor.
You can go ahead and pass their motion, but we can do an amendment to it afterwards, a separate motion maybe.
If we could also vote on this and vote it down and then remake a motion. I mean, I'm sure everybody would be happy with it, our listeners too, that this program is at a standstill right now.
Yep.
Chairman.
Got Mr. Thompson and then Mr. Bartlett.
Chairman, I was just gonna state that there is a program for through housing that addresses this too. I really think it would be a really good idea if you could maybe coordinate with Mrs. Vogel out there at Housing Authority and send them people out in these communities and help them. I mean, have you seen one of them applications they got? It's 30-some pages long. And no one's putting in for it because they don't know how to fill it out. Send them employees out to the communities and get these people to come and help them fill this application. I'll probably target a lot of these people that are in for this ARPA application. It's specifically there for private home renovation and repairs through Housing Authority. So can you light a fire under them guys over there and get them out and into the communities and provide a service to the people? That's why that program's there. Thank you.
You got Mr. Bartlett, Mr. Walters, and Mr. Russo.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I was going to say, where's the application at? And who authorized the application and why are we waiting? Sounds like we've been waiting 2 months for this application. And as Mr. Means, has that position been advertised? I was told that was advertised and he wasn't the person selected. So I know we're talking about a plan here. We don't have a copy of the application, our draft application. We don't know if Mr. Means is the official director or if hiring board selected someone. I'm being told that they selected someone after the elections or during the elections. So I think the administration needs to find that out. This is similar to those range units, Chairman. Just to make things fair, I think everybody needs to apply for these range units and then we put it in a lottery system and spin the wheel and we select the range units. So I don't think that's fair. Some of my colleagues are saying that we need to open it up for everybody. Well, similar to those range units, there's people's homes that are being worked on that hold a range unit and, versus people that don't have jobs and are making ends meet for their utilities on their homes. And, I guess I would like to see the copy of the application that was sent out. And I'd like to know who's going to do the selection because the Human Services Committee's been taking action for several months now, approving and sending them to home repair program without no work being done. So I got contractors calling me saying they're ready to work. The weather's nice. It's pretty tough during the winter months, but they're ready to work and we're holding things up on this application for home repair. And who's going to do the selection? Are we going to honor the Human Services Committee's actions? Or is Galen Means going to do the selection of the 180 plus applicants? Who's going to do the selection, Chairman? Once the applicants apply, who's going to decide? The one person working in that department, or 5 or 6 council reps sitting on the Human Services Committee? Or is the administrative officer or chairman yourself, or how's that process going to take place? Because I think we already had a process, but Mr. Means said that this entire Jefferson Street can't be worked on because it doesn't meet South Dakota code. These houses can't be worked on. So, and then there's discussion on showing up to houses and people are intoxicated or under the influence, so they're walking away from these homes that need to be repaired. So I guess I would like to see the application, Chairman. If we got a draft of it, usually we have a draft, just like on these homes. We got a draft of that. So if we get a copy of that, Council, I think we'll kind of get an idea of what what we're looking at, who's gonna make the decisions on the home repairs. But to me, I think we need to put a cap on it. If you're making more than 50,000, then you should be able to get your loan and, do your own home repairs. I think we need to help out our poorest of the poor. There's 90% unemployment rate here on the reservation, and we're including people in that 10% that already have good paying jobs in this home repair program. So, Chairman, can one of the executives answer that? I guess the application draft, and then who's going to be the decision makers on that? And is the Human Services Committee's action is going to be honored? Because we're taking lots of time at Human Services, and those requests come in, and sometimes it adds another 2 or 3 hours onto the meeting. So it's senseless if we're wasting that time, and you guys are going to go in a different direction with this, or allow Mr. Means to do the selection himself. So, thank you.
Yeah, I think, I sent the application draft out that Ms. Zephyr sent the other day, and it should be in your email today, or I just sent it to the staff, so they'll forward it on to you, and we can review. We can print out the copies and bring it in here too to go over it, and so I think that process, we just take care of that this week. Same with the other one, the other app. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I think as far as who gets the repairs, it's up to the council. I think we can define if it's a committee or if it's a subcommittee or whatever. We can figure that out. Is that everything to answer your questions, Mr. Bartlett?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Underwoods.
Chairman, I got a question because I've been asking this from the former chairman for years to bring in property and Gar and Galen and have them give us a report. What do I? Like they're the scouts. They're out there doing it, and we're not. We don't know, like what colleagues saying, who's going to do this and that. So we should hear a report from them. Maybe table this District 4 reps until we get Gar and Galen in here to give us an idea of what's going on. And we still haven't had that report. And when we had that 1.5 million, was it 1.5 million to do those repairs? We threw it on them, and they had to, because of the workload, we finally got that list now, but they had to contract out to get people to work. So we should be starting a training program here on the reservation at the community level, at least carpentry, plumbing, and, at least basics, plumbing, electrical, and carpentry, at least to recruit these young guys that are able to work, and hopefully we can get a report on that, Chairman, because what I heard finally from housing is that they got 2 carpenters. So you think that's what I asked the director there, where's your training program so you can knock out, like how they knock out CHRs with all that training, certification, alcohol certification, same thing. We should be looking at some kind of a program here for our young people. A long time ago, they called it Indian Action Team. And we had a trucking outfit then, and a lot of guys that learned how to heavy equipment operator, truck drive, they did it through that Indian Action Team. Maybe we can talk to Gar, and I know he's, and Galen. You think you can bring them in sometime so we can get the accurate and maybe get their opinion so we can kind of answer District 5 reps. I got that same concern, but can you do that, Chairman? I don't know if District 4 wants to table that till we get a report from them. I think we should. That way we can know exactly what's going on. Plamalo.
Chairman LeBeau?
Yep.
Galen does give a report to the Tribal Projects Committee, and he gave one at our last meeting last week.
Yeah.
So it should be attached to the Tribal Projects Committee minutes.
Cool. Thank you.
Regarding this motion,
You want to leave it as is?
Yeah, I'll just leave it the way it came from the district then, since it can't be amended. And we'll see where it goes, and if it gets shot down, I can make another motion adding the amendments.
Okay, sounds good. Mr. Walters, Mr. Russo, and then Madam Secretary.
Just real quick, Mr. Chairman, remember that gentleman that came up we had a meeting with him at your office, and I believe he's from USDA, and he has a program for grant, and he has a program for loan, and there is income guidelines, and if they don't qualify for the grant, they can qualify for a loan. And I went back so many years, I believe, and this is how the money came. I believe he said, Mr. Chairman, if I'm wrong, correct me, is that these storms that went through here at that time, I believe, were considered disaster. And if you remember down on the West End really got wiped out. Not only homes, but cars, windshields, side windows. Homes got wiped out with their things, and there is money out there, but it is a grant process or a loan process. It depends on the income that money's out there to be able to get a hold of. I don't remember how much money he said it was, but there is money out there for the tribes to get a hold of, for a tribal member to get a hold of, but there is an application process. And it could be a grant for low income, no income families to get their homes repaired. And all it requires is that they get their quote. They get the quote from 3 contractors or maybe 2 contractors he went down to. And that's the way they would qualify to get that grant money. And it was through USDA.
Mr. Russo?
Thank you, Chairman. So, breaking news for those of you that don't know, 19 hours ago, Fort Bands Community Fund, they just launched a home renovation loan program, $500 to $50,000, interest rates 6 to 7%. Loan requirements, minimum credit score of 600. Right there, so whoever doesn't know what low income is, low income doesn't mean you work and you're not low income if you're working and you have kids. If you're working and you have kids, you can still be low income. But what I'm telling you is I'm at these committees. I'm getting the reports from these guys. And we got tribal directors with no kids on there, probably making $60,000 a year. We got ranging operators with no kids on there, probably making 100 plus thousand, 6 figures. And probably got 600 credit score, qualify for this 4 bands thing. You know, call 605-964-3687. That's the number if you got a high income and a good credit score. But these programs need to be for low income people that don't have minimum 600 credit score or are good enough to get a loan at 4 bands or at one of the other banks. That's why these income requirements are important, because people that are outside the low income, they have opportunity. That's what they have. Their children have opportunity too. I bet you some of these kids can probably apply for a 4 bands loan and get a 4 bands loan before an adult in an impoverished area with a home that don't have windows. These 12-year-old kids probably get a loan at 4 bands before these low-income families that have a hard-working parent that struggles to even put food on the table, let alone get a home renovated. Thank you.
Madam Secretary?
Chairman?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm in the wrong spot. I was visiting, but I think I'd like to take this opportunity to talk about this home program. And I really think we need to take a long, hard look at what we have available to us as a tribe. We've got a lot of departments that can handle this kind of stuff, and we're sitting here spinning our wheels for quite some time. And I don't see that changing much here going forward. We're going to have a long run with this housing project. So I would just like to lay on the table that we've got a HIP department that could use some serious revving up and could be doing a lot more for the tribe. I think there's a lot of opportunity there going forward. And we also got our Cheyenne River Housing Authority that are been at this housing thing for a long time. She's got infrastructure all in place down on the Badger Park, and then they've got some areas that I had discussed this with her briefly. They got area that they would like to do some stick-built, talking about putting some programs together with the Tarot and some training opportunities. So I just think if we just move forward and go about it this fashion, that we're missing a lot that could be offered with this. I know Mr. Walters talked about grant and loan opportunities. Those are things that her and her staff do over there daily. They can help all of these individuals apply for those grants and loans. And as far as the new word is upward mobility, when she uses her funds and helps one of the people that rent from the housing authority, moves them into home ownership, that frees that home up at the rent level. And she says she can help the people even with the lowest of incomes get into a home, provided that they don't have history. And if they do, that's something they need to work out with her or whoever themselves to get themselves in good standing. A lot of times it isn't the housing authority or whoever's being held accountable for not helping. And sometimes it's us as individuals that we don't hold up our end of the bargain. And later down the road, it catches up with us, and then we have to deal with it. So I just think that the housing authority would be a good opportunity. And I don't know, like we talk about HIP could be doing so much more for us. And as administration, I would like that for you to have a long, hard look at the HIP program at this time. And I just see that if we was to bundle the HIP, put it under the direction of the housing authority, bring the two together, two groups, they're both housing. That's what they do. Here at this table, we're legislators. We're supposed to be creating legislation and other opportunities for the tribe. There's so much more that we could be working on, but we get hung up with this same spot, seems like every session. We're not housing experts. We have housing experts that are available to us. And I would like to see us slow down a little bit, take a look at the entities that we have available to us, and maybe bring the housing authority director over, set up a schedule with her, get her, not just drop a bomb on her and say, hey, show up and tell us all about your stuff. Give them opportunity to plan and set up, say, a summit, a housing summit, and then she can go through all of the different ways that she can help leverage these funds so that we'll get way more for our dollar as opposed to the way we're doing it. The way we're doing it right now, we're setting ourselves up for taking on a lot of responsibility for utilities and other items that go along with the housing project, to where that would all be covered under her program. And that way we can help a lot more of our individuals move into housing. And she's doing a lot of good things with the home ownership for young first-time home buyers. They have ways of shrinking the gap for the down payments even. As long as these young people are working and have jobs, they have that opportunity to become a homeowner. And when they become a homeowner, that opens up a house that they were renting for another individual that she can help transition into a housing. So, Mr. Chairman, I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but I don't think there's been a lot of thought or discussion about it. So that's why I bring it to the table. I would like to see us do that, because we do have a lot of work to do as tribal government. And if we could find a way to move this forward one way or another, free us up. Some of the projects that we're working on right now, and it does take time. And when we get into these long, drawn-out sessions, debating, scheduling, who's getting what, all the other things that go along with it, that's not productive. That's counterproductive. And I would just think that we don't need to operate under these guidelines, and it's hard. It's hard to get anything done when we're discussing things that are way outside of the realm of what we come here to do. So with that said, Chairman, I would welcome any discussion on those two entities, and if see what everybody has to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kessler. Madam Secretary?
Bryce Underwood?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Got a journey, got 9 in here.
Yeah.
Just pass that resolution on, what was that, 2/3? Or I can't remember what it was, but I'll support it.
Madam Secretary, please call for the vote. Take a lunch break.
Bryce Underwood? Jen Ive Jr.? John Kessler?
Yes.
Kenrick Dupreez? Sharon Lee?
Yes.
Kelsey Haskell?
Yes.
Thad Rose? Absent. Derek Bartlett?
Abstain.
Joel Bringspenny?
Abstain.
Bob Walters? Ronald Russo?
No.
Tuffy Thompson?
Yes.
Thank you.
We got 6 yes, 1 no, 4 abstain, 1 absent. Motion carries. Ms. Lee?
Thank you, Chairman LeBeau. The next, let's back up.
Council, I'm sorry, Ms. Lee. Let's go and take a lunch break. Madam Secretary's computer's not working.
Okay.
Let's take an hour lunch break. Come back at 1 p.m.